Hello, everybody. Mike from Southern California again. It is Wednesday, February the 26th, 2020, and you're on the mic. Now, as I've been saying the last few days, I did plan on talking about the appeals case, or on the Vic's appeals brief. I was just waiting for Nick to finish it. I was hoping he would have had more of the shorter videos as well. I take a look at those. But without all that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and go with what's been presented up to this point. So basically, and as I was watching Nick's shorter stream on the defamation part of it, um, this is what I took from all that what I believe Ty is going to be arguing here, because Nick pointed out that a lot of it was he's gonna that this is gonna be a referendum on the TCPA. He's given examples of how it's been appealed a lot due to the fact a lot of it comes down to um, what prima facie is, or what prima facie is. That's what I think it really comes down to. I think what Ty is going to try to do here is he's going to try to argue for the appeals court to once and for all define what prima facie means. I mean, we do have it in the thing. The prima facie is basically now prima facie is a lower bar than preponderance of evidence, is where a lot of trip ups keep happening here. But let me let me explain this. So, okay, so what is prima facie? What does it actually mean then? That's, I think, one of the first things we have to um, look at here. So this is I'm getting this from Wikipedia. This is the definition the definition they give for prima facie. Prima facie is a Latin expression meaning on first encounter or at first sight. The literal translation would be at first face or at first appearance. And then that part I don't think is as, but basically this is a part that I think people need to. So in modern colloquial and conversational English, a common translation would be on the face of it. The term prima facie is used in modern legal English, both civil law and criminal law, to signify that upon initial examination, sufficient corroborating evidence appears to exist to support the case. So what that in essence means is that all Ty really had to do to move beyond the TCPA was show that there was enough evidence there. Um, he just simply had to show that there was enough evidence there that they had a case. That's all he really had to do. You know, it's not at the TCPA level where you're actually trying the case, or there's or you need the greater burden of the preponderance of evidence. You just needed to show that you had enough evidence to support a case, which I believe Ty did, and I think most people following this case know that he did. You know, um, that was considered a reversible error. The fact that Judge Shupp wouldn't consider a lot of his evidence is reversible error. And that term comes up a lot in the briefs throughout throughout all the charges and stuff like that. Ty even in the briefs gave examples from the case that he was trying to put in. But again, the burden of proof at that level, at the TCP level, is low. It's just there's only one little extra caveat, of the clear and specific evidence part, but he also had that. Okay, you just have to show, like I think in the TCPA, you have to show that you have enough you have to show that you do have enough evidence to support a case. And I think with the clear and specific evidence part of it, you have to give examples of what you have. And I think that's really all Ty needed to do to move beyond the TCPA. And that is basically what he did. Judge Shupp just would not consider it, though. You know, um, you know, one of the other things that seems to be the back and forth on is whether now I you know now while I understand he can't introduce new evidence, there's another with the Second Amendment petition, there's a question of whether or not Judge Shupp actually struck it. I don't you know actually struck it or just informally. It seems more like he informally struck it. If Ty could argue that point, then the case is a slam dunk. Um, so basically, though, I think what the crust of the case is going to come down to is I think Ty is going to argue for them to once and for all give a real hard specific definition to the term prima facie, because it seems like that's where everybody's getting tripped up on. All Ty had to really do is just show that he had enough evidence to move the case forward and give clear and specific examples of how he of the evidence that he had. He did that. Okay. I think anybody with any reasonable intelligence can figure out that he did that. Nick, even on some of his streams in the past, have talked about other, similar cases to Vic's that, where it did, and I think that part of the reason why I kick Vic is on the offense because I think deep down, I think in what they're now called appellees, the defendants, appellees, whatever you want to call them at this point. I think they know this. I think the lawyers at least know this. They know that they got lucky, but that's kind of the calm before the storm. You know, that's the calm before the storm, basically. So that is basically what it's going to come down to, though. Is can Ty argue? Well, is Ty going to be able to argue that for them to clearly define what prima facie is, so everybody understands it moving forward? Because I'm very sure, from what I understand, the appeals courts are basically they're getting tired of having all these TCPA cases coming into their court because people are not properly interpreting the law there. So I think that's more or less what it's all based on. So let's hope let's hope that Ty can get a chance to actually argue his points. Both sides both sides, of course, have petitioned the appeals court for oral arguments. Now, understand this, people. They're in the appeals process. Nick even warned us that the case is going to slow down. Okay, so now Vic has done his appeal, or has turned in his appeals brief. So I think the next target date I think is March 18th, from what I understand, in which I think the appellees Monica and Ron, Funimation, and Jamie all have to file, I guess, first off, their briefs for their counter appeal on the fees, as well as give their. Now, I don't know about I think the response they have a little. I think the next date's the 18th. That's the that's the extension that appellees, um, Monica, Ron, Jamie, and well, I think Monica and Ron are the ones who are cross appealing on the fees, but the 18th is when they have to have that in. Also, all the defendants slash appellees, and I think it's sometime in the I think the I know it was like last week. I think it was so from whenever the date was. I think it was the 11th or the 12th, when they when Vic filed his appellant brief. I think like 20 days from that. I think for the defendant slash appellees to respond. So now we're just going to be sitting around waiting. We're going to, of course, be waiting on the cross appellant brief. We're going to be sitting there waiting on their response to Vic's brief, and then, from what I understand, then we'll have to probably wait another 20, 30 days for Ty and his team to respond to that, and then we might get into, people are saying it could be as early as April. As could we think in terms of oral arguments, could be as early as April. It might even be further along than that. Obviously I'm no lawyer. I don't, I'm only going off of how Nick explained it. So, but yeah, but one of the things I was worried about is whether or not Ty was going to be able to at least show them the second amended position, because that's the sinker right there. That's the one that will really just hammer home the claims. But even Nick said that they probably do have enough even without it, but still, you still want to make sure that everything is considered. And the other point there was that did Judge Shupp actually strike it? That's the point that Ty. I think the fact that he didn't rule on it is what Ty's going to argue. He didn't really rule on it. Everybody said he ruled on it, but did he really rule on it? Did he strike it, or did he just say he wasn't going to consider it? And I think that's going to be a main contention point as well. So I guess that's all I can say about that. So moving on then a bit here. So now that I've given my piece on that part of it, now it's time to get to a more funner part of the video here. This day in niche history. So what happened on this February 26th in years past in the niche community? So first off, we go back 80 years to 1940. On this date in 1940, Censor Publications released on the newsstands the 20th issue of Keen Detective Funnies. I believe these were primarily, detective stories, maybe with a little bit of comedy thrown in there, kind of comedic detective type stories. Yeah, so that was back 80 years ago that Censor Publications released Keen Detective Funnies. Moving on then. On this date in 1990 in Memphis, Tennessee, the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant, would defeat Jerry Lawler for the USWA heavyweight title. On this date in Memphis in 1990, which was 30 years ago today. Jimmy Valiant would beat Jerry Lawler for the USWA title. And finally, on this date in 2010, first, the Tokyo ESP manga, written and illustrated by Hajime Sagawa, began its serialized run in Shonen Ace on this date in 2010, as well, and also on this date in 2010, the anime adaptation of Muda Zumo Naki Kaikaku, known in English as The Legend of Koizumi. The anime adaptation was released on this date as an OVA. The OVA anime adaptation of The Legend of Koizumi was released on this date in 2010, which I'm going to be 10 years ago. So, with all that being said, you guys can check the links below. If you want to contact me directly, you can do that through my Discord. DM me there. You can check out the Discord, join if you'd like. Let's see. Also, I'm promoting a bunch of different dub companies. Remember, Funimation's not the only game in town. As well as, let's see now. Also, I'm still promoting the GoFundMe's. As always, guys, never feel like you have to donate. If if it's on your heart to do so and you have the means to, please consider donating. If you've already donated, please consider donating again. And if you cannot donate, you can still help out the cause by sharing the link. Sharing is caring. You never know. Maybe somebody in your circle of friends might want to help out. You never know. And if you like this content, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. I will always get back to you guys. As long as you keep the conversation civil and respectful, I will generally get back to you. Always look forward to the conversation with you guys. And until tomorrow, bye.